If you're in a 20 to 50 employee HVAC company, you're losing up to $1,800 a day from missed calls. I built a system that drops that to 0 before peak season hits. And that number, it gets 10 times worse in summer. So I built an AI phone system for an HVAC company that answers every single call 24/7, books appointments at 3 a.m., handles overflow when 10 calls come in at once. And I'm about to show you exactly what it sounds like. And if you're new here, my name is Mo, and I've consulted over 100 businesses, and including 8-figure companies, on how to implement AI specifically for contractors. Now, really quick, I do take on 3 new companies every month, but if you're interested to have a one-on-one chat and perhaps consider AI for your business, or perhaps you're unsure which direction to pick, then I do offer free consultations, which you can find in the first link in the description. And now, let me show you how it sounds.
Thanks for calling Comfort Air. This is Eric. How can I help you?
Hi, Eric. I am struggling because my AC is not cooling and it's, very hot. So we would want someone as soon as possible, potentially tomorrow morning if possible.
Oh no, that sounds really uncomfortable, especially with this heat. We'll get someone out to help as soon as we can. Who am I speaking with?
Speaking with Mark.
Thanks, Mark. And what's the address for the property where you're having the AC trouble?
It's 123 Main Street, Orlando.
Got it. 123 Main Street in Orlando. And is this the best number to reach you at if the tech needs to call or text?
Yeah.
Hold on a sec. All right, so for tomorrow, we've got a few afternoon slots open. One at 1 o'clock, 1:15, or 1:30. Would
No.
any of those work for you?
Nothing in the morning? You don't have anything in the morning?
Looks like our first openings tomorrow are in the early afternoon, starting at 1. I know that's not ideal, but I can get you the very first slot at 1 o'clock if that helps.
Yeah, that's
Would
fine.
you like to grab?
Yeah, let's grab that.
No problem, Mark. So do you want to go ahead and grab that 1 o'clock slot for tomorrow? Or would you like to look at another day instead?
No, tomorrow is perfect, actually. 12 p.m.
Perfect. Perfect, Mark. Just to confirm, 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon at 123 Main Street in Orlando for your AC, not cooling. And this number is the best way to reach you. Sound good?
Yep.
One moment. You're all set, Mark. We've got you down for tomorrow at 1 o'clock, and you'll get a text confirmation in just a bit with all the details. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
No, that's good. Thank you. And as you can see, it booked right into my calendar with the slot. And also, if I go and check into my email, it's basically, we can see here the 15-minute meeting being booked. So it basically syncs with calendars, CRMs, emails, really anything that we give it access to. All right, so let's look at what a system, such the one that I just showed you, an AI voice system can do for a business. And in this case, we have 2,000 calls being handled by the AI. And if we assign a $350 ticket amount for, let's say, the average amount for a call that we are going to receive, you can see that the number of, let's say, estimated revenue per year can look quite important. In this case, it would be $320,000 a year that would be recovered by the AI. And you can also see that once you start to implement an AI voice agent, you're basically covering all the calls that come in. So that means that we're, depending also on each business, how they want to cover. In this case, the business decided to have the reception team take the call. So the CSRs or any receptionist, when available, they would take the call. If they're not available, for example, they're taking lunch or they may be out for, let's say, a moment, what will happen is that the AI would basically kick in and take over the call. So that's more like overflow. And then in the after hours, the AI is the one taking all the calls and basically transferring whenever there is an urgency or an emergency case. And you can see that once implemented, AI basically takes care of all the calls and is able to basically pick up everything. So you're basically never losing anything else. In this case, the 10% miss rate is basically kicking in from beginning of January, so beginning of the year, all the way to the end of the year. And you can see also that summer months tends to be, of course, the heavier ones, and also where most of the money can be made because of all the people calling, how much money can be actually saved. So it's quite a good demonstration here to see how much a bottom line of a business actually depends on, or at least a home service business or HVAC in this case, depends on the calls and how we answer calls. And the beautiful thing is that these systems, not only they can answer calls, but they can also take actions. So they can book appointments into our CRM, so Service Titan or Household Pro or Jobber, whatever CRM we're using. And they can even assign technician to a specific job depending on the specific job that we are getting. So depending on the context of the call, and of course, registering a new user, if they're a new user, or updating the records for someone who we know that he is a, or she is a, one of our customers, depending on their status, of course. All right, so let's hover over this idea of peak season timeline. And right now I'm recording this video during the end of March, beginning of April, and it's really when the calls start to pick up. And that is, of course, if you live in the hotter areas, hotter regions, where the winters tend to be a bit more mild and summers hotter. So that's a lot of people may be calling about their AC being broken or issues that the system is not working. And yeah, that's when you, of course, want to be ready to pick up all these calls, because most of the money, or a lot of the money, can be done during these months. So if we go look at the difference between normal season and peak season, you can basically 10 time it often. So for example, if you're receiving like 30 calls in a day during a normal, let's say, day, so in a January, then that means then in June, you will likely receive 300 calls a day. And on average, every, let's say, HVAC business loses about 30% of the calls that they receive. So in this case, it would be about 8 calls. And this problem gets just worse during the summer. So let's say that you lose about 60% of the calls that you receive, then that would amount to 180 calls just being lost overall. That if we calculate the, let's say, average value of a call for being $300 and you miss 180, then right there, we can see that you're losing about $50,000 a day in calls that you're not receiving. And now you wonder, how do I fix this problem of the 300 calls, not being able to receive all these and handle them? Now, if you have been following, let's say, the content that I make, I'm really big on AI, let's say, system, and especially AI voice systems that can basically handle any amount of calls. So, for example, if you put at it 300 calls a day, can handle all of them, no problem, following a script that you, of course, train it on. And what would happen is that you would receive this call, and then the AI system would basically handle the call. So it would know, hey, is this someone that wants to book an appointment, or is this someone who is just interested for someone to come out, or is it someone that wants to reschedule? So it really is able to perform any task that you train it on. Of course, we have to connect it to the right tools. So in this case, we would need to connect it, if you use Service Titan, to your CRM of choice. So in this case, if it's Service Titan, you need to connect it to your phone system. So if you're using Twilio, for example, and if you need to make any automations, I like to go for N8N, but really it doesn't matter what kind of tech you use. This can be hooked up to any custom, let's say, CRM or tool that you are actually using. And the way that it works is that you basically connect all these tools together so that you give access to this agent to perform, let's say, any task that it needs, let's say, to do, depending on the call. Now, the beautiful thing about a system like this is that it's able to handle any amount of calls that you throw at it at the same time. So, for example, if we're receiving 20 calls at the same time to this phone number, well, that's no problem. AI is able to handle as many calls as you instruct it to at the same time. So that basically, if we look back at this issue that we had here, where we get 300 calls, and likely that 60% is because we are not able to pick up multiple simultaneous calls. At least that's for the human team that would handle those. Whereas if we are using AI, that's problem basically solved. So we can just throw at it any number of calls, and it is able to handle them. And as I mentioned, it's trained on anything that we instructed to be trained on. And yeah, it is able to record the calls, transcribe the calls, take notes, and as I mentioned before, take actions and even book appointments into, let's say, our calendar or any CRM that we're using. Now, one use case that I think is the most low-hanging fruit that I just like to start with any HVAC company is the after-hours calls. And the reason is that if we look at a normal business hour, so from 8 to 5, for example, the average ticket is, as we said, around $300 per call. And it's likely that customers are just shopping around. So that means that it's mainly people who may want someone to come right now, but it's perhaps people asking questions or just trying to understand what we offer and evaluating different options. Whereas if we look at the after hours situation, so let's say at 3 a.m. something is broken in the AC and it's really creating a problem, then that is a really painful call to make. And the person calling is probably going to look at different people in Google Maps, and basically they go with the first person that they're going to pick up. And that's why you want to be able to pick up that call. AI is perfect for that. It's able to, as I mentioned before, if 24/7 at any time of the day, doesn't matter when you call it, it's always there. So difference, of course, is that here, maybe during the day, you have people who are shopping around, so they want to learn more about your services, how much you price. Whereas in the evening or in the night, just need you. So they are probably willing to pay any price for your services, and that's when you will charge after hours rates, and the average ticket amount, of course, goes a lot higher in the after hours. So I would say this is definitely a no-brainer use case for any HVAC company thinking of using AI. That you are definitely going to see very fast return on investment in after hours agent. Instead of going to voicemail, and by the way, anyone that goes to voicemail, statistics that people that go to voicemail are never going to call back. That case, we're able to basically fix the problem and for all. I like to always mention is that the severity of the problem is really evident when you compound the, let's say, you stack the amount of money that you are losing every week. For example, as I mentioned before, like if we are marking $300 like per call, we're getting, let's say, like off calls are being missed, and we say that we're in peak volume situation, then you're probably leaving on the table $8,000 a week, which you look over the entire peak season. Goes over $90,000 that you're just leaving during the summer. So that is, let's say, a significant amount of money for any business be left there when you could easily fix it. Something like an AI agent that can pick up every call that comes out. Now, if you're interested to see how, let's say, AI could look in your business and you were thinking of adopting it, then I do offer free consultations, which you can find in the top link in the description, where we can have a chat one-on-one and see whether this or any other AI system can actually make sense for your own business. And if you want to learn how to build a voice AI system for the very first time, then I do invite you to watch this video right here. See you there.